what action are you taking on a daily basis to move towards your goals or your plan? If you want to rush for 1,000 yards, that could be your goal, but you have to have daily actions plan, an action plan, and things that you're doing and habits that you're doing every single day. So that might be as part of that goal. It's I'm gonna rush for 1,000 yards, and that means I'm working out 4 days a week, lifting. I'm running 3 days a week. I'm making sure I eat the right way. So the action plan gives you those daily moments, those daily habits that you can ride and lean on to get you where you want to be.
There is something special inside you.
Welcome to GNG Podcast with your host, speaker, best-selling author, Chaz Jackson.
Yo, what's going on, kings and queens? Boy, Chaz Jackson coming back to you once again, representing GNG Gift and a Gift. Hey, I personally want to take the time to tell each and every one of you, thank you for giving me your eyes and your ears once again. It's great to dive deep into some inspiration that I pray will plant like a seed in your mind and assist you in becoming a greater version of yourself. So if you've been listening to GNG Podcast, or if this is your first time with us, welcome. Hey, you know that we are all gifted differently to make a difference. And I want to invite my new viewers, listeners, to understand that whole concept and also understand this. No one is too small to be a difference maker right now. And the guest that I have on the show, this episode, he is truly passionate about understanding that. My guy, Coach David Schuman, he is on the show with us today, and he is representing NUC Sports. You're ready to shine some light, so go ahead, get your pen and paper as we get ready to roll and get this giant on the show. But before Coach Schuman jumps on, I want to go over the mission statement of his platform. It is to provide tips and techniques for young men as they strive to grow in personal development and leadership. And I want you guys to take a daily challenge with me of becoming a passionate visionary who is determined to leave a legacy for themselves by adopting unwavering life values and serving others in the area of gifting led by God. So that is the daily challenge I'm taking. Coach Schuman, he's taking that daily challenge. We want to invite you to take that daily challenge and share this episode out to anyone you feel like going to be able to resonate with the CEO and leader of NUC Sports. This guy is doing some amazing things, pouring into football athletes, coaches, trainers, parents all across the world. And he is on GNG Podcast. Are you ready to get it, Coach?
Yes. I'm glad to be talking with you. We're on the opposite side this time. You know,
I know, man. I had the opportunity to be on your amazing show, and I want you to talk a little bit more about that whole genre. But the audience really want to know about your story, Coach. How did you get to where you are right now in 2022, pouring into so many young people's lives through athletics and helping them grow into a stronger version of themselves? Can you share your story with us?
Absolutely. I played football in college at the University of Connecticut many moons ago. I finished in my last year play was 1996, and I got my MBA there. I got my undergrad there, UConn, and then I went into really the tech field and figured I'd leverage my MBA to go make $1 bazillion. That was kind of like my goal at the time, and I was in that field and I enjoyed it. Had a lot of really quick success because that was the real first .com boom. Really was during that time period. And then, around 9/11 happened, and I was, in the New York City area at the time, and my client, I had left the company that I was with at the time, but one of my big clients was Cantor Fitzgerald. They were on the 104th floor, and kind of brought a lot of reflection to me as to, like, is this really my purpose? So I was doing really well. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say I loved it, but I enjoyed it. So I talked to my father. I started coaching, and I went back to grad school at Columbia University. I was pursuing a master's in phys ed, and then I really, while I was there, I wrote a book. I wrote a book on training, and kind of was like, I was in these phys ed classes, and I was like, let me write something up on strength and conditioning. And I wrote this book. I still sell it to this day. Originally it was called 30 Days to Sports Speed. And it's become, it's now sold like tens of thousands of copies.
Nice.
But over, 20 years, which really, I guess, translates into a couple hundred a year, which is okay. But it was really like, it was kind of the opening to what became my business. So I started with that, and then I started training athletes literally out of my truck. And my reputation started to build. I had the tech background, so I built a website. Not that many people had a website at the time. And I opened up a training facility. But in 2005, I shifted more towards football-based programs. So I had my training facility, but football was always my love. I was coaching, and I wanted to do something for athletes to help them from a recruiting standpoint. And so I developed essentially an NFL Combine for high school athletes, but we were focused. There were some events at the time for like juniors, going to be seniors, but nothing for like freshmen and sophomores. So that was what my program was. I did one event in 2005 around that.
Around freshmen and sophomores?
Freshmen and sophomores, and this was 2005. And from that event, obviously, because I was coaching, I had a lot of connections. I played Division I, much like your story from that standpoint. So I reached out to all the college coaches about the kids I thought were the top kids from the event. 21 of those kids went Division I out of the 140 that came to the event.
Wow.
So, and 2 of them are still in the NFL, Tyrod Taylor and Joe Hayden.
Oh, yeah, so, man. Tyrod.
Yeah, man. So, they were at that very first event. And so that was the launching pad. And then we started.
Where were you at this point? Were you in Jersey? Or
I was in New Jersey. Yep. And that event was in New Jersey. And it was really interesting because kids came from all over because of the fact. I still remember to this day when Tyrod Taylor's father called me. It's funny because we only use, like with our customer support, we use the phone for like texting. We don't really pick up the phone that much. But back then, we picked up the phone, and people called. And Tyrod Taylor's father was like, he already has a Virginia Tech offer, which I think that's where he ended up going. But we wanted to get him more national exposure, and will this help? And I said, well, we're going to reach out to all the coaches. So it did. He ended up with a bazillion offers. He ended up still choosing Virginia Tech. So anyway, so that one thing we started expanding. So the next year we ran 5, then we ran 17. Then I think it was 2008, we ran 44 events, which was really our big launch, going from 17 to 44, because 17 was manageable. My staff from New Jersey all traveled together. 44 was the first time we had to start soliciting outside help. And we couldn't just all run it and go. So we did that, and that was a wild ride from that point forward till like 2013. Our staff would go everywhere. We started developing other staffs around the country, and we would hop on a plane on Friday, go to, let's say, Columbus, Ohio, Friday night, Saturday leave, fly to Chicago. And we did this for 22 weekends straight throughout the spring. For 5-6 years, just straight traveling. But that's what it took. We really had it. The guys who were with me at the time, we were all in on it, and we really built the platform from there. And so many kids, thousands and thousands of kids were coming through the program. At one point, we had 25,000 kids coming through the programs a year. Since then, there's obviously been competition, but we still have somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 a year come through. And it was just a platform that became a national platform from, my vision and the guys that were helping me saying, hey, we're just going to go for it. We're going to help as many kids as we can, as many places around the country, get this stuff out to college coaches, and let's see where it goes. And that's what we did.
Awesome. Thank you for diving deeper on that story, Coach. And it sounds like you guys just, you had a vision, you developed the right mindset behind it, and you had a standard of excellence starting out and just got really focused and took that leap of faith going from 17 to 44. That was a big jump. That's more than double. But it took off, and it's an amazing about what you did. And I'm sure you showed that you cared and you valued the players, and you just wholeheartedly wanted to serve them to get them to where they want to do to make their dream a reality. So I just want to say thank you for what you do, and for so many young minds that's been placed in your path, and you just help cultivate them to become, great athletes, but also just great men in general, young men in general.
Oh, thank you. I'll tell you an interesting story. And then I didn't realize it until 2 years into it. I did something, and then my coaches did it when, if I wasn't at the event, the other guys would do it. We did something that was really unique. So my whole thing was try to, even though we were running, we had thousands of kids, we wanted to have some level of personal connection with them as much as we could. And what we did when we had the award winners is the guy who was the director of the event. So in the beginning it was me, and then expanded out to other guys. We would take a picture with all the award winners. And what was so interesting, no one did this before. People always took, like Rivals.com and 24/7 used to separate the athlete out and just take a picture of them only. So what we did was we took a picture with them just because we wanted to have that personal connection so they would know. And what it turned into is athletes wanted to get the picture with the coaches. It was kind of, and now you see it everywhere. Like literally every event, everybody does it, or almost everybody does it. But literally nobody, we did it just because we were trying to get that personal connection so they could remember us, we could remember them, and that kind of personal connection. And it took off into this whole thing. And now at every showcase you see, that's what everybody does. But we were really the first to do it, and we kind of did it by accident, just really because we wanted to make a connection. So if we reached out to them and they reached out to us. So, my point is that you never know like what you do that connects with people. And that happened to be one small thing we did that was different, and it connected. And now like, it's commonplace. Everybody does it. So it's very interesting.
Dude, that's awesome. And that kind of takes me to my next question, actually. Like over these years, I know you are the CEO and leader of NUC Sports. Like when you hear that, what does that mean to you personally? Like when you hear NUC Sports?
Yeah, well, to me, it's something that's is a small business that was focused on connecting and helping kids. And to this day, we're a small business. Like all the people that work for me and work in my events and help with our programs, they're all contracted workers. Like nobody, I'm really technically the only employee. There was a time where we used to have a ton of employees, and as we decentralized and we had leaders around the country, we really didn't have to have the employees anymore. And the faith in those people being able to execute without them having to be next to me and stand over them, I feel like that's the greatest gift, that they feel invested in the brand, that we all know that our brand is about helping kids. And everyone who comes as a part of it works with us, that when they run an event, when they coach the kids, they know that that's our overall mission. And everybody's with them for a brief time period, but we want to have an impact. So that's what kind of NUC Sports means to me. It's a group of guys who really are trying to help young men, give them an opportunity to be a small part of their lives and a small part of their success, and try to help them on their journey. In this case, obviously in football. But it's funny because the branding part of it was like, our original brand was called National Underclassmen Combines. Like, that was the brand forever. There's some people, guys who came to my events who were like, yeah, they still call it that. And we changed it to NUC Sports around 2013, 2014, just because we had expanded into many different kind of things. Much more things. So we wanted to, have a little broad-based appeal. But the truth is, to this day, it's all about it's always been a number one about the underclassmen first, and helping the younger guys get that opportunity. But we changed our branding a little bit to be a little bit more expansive. And then the side product of it is that my own brand ended up becoming a big thing with it. So there's kind of two branding aspects. There's NUC Sports, which is obviously all the programs we run. And then there's become, I guess, partially by accident, Coach Schuman, which is like, I'm kind of the face. So where in the past I was at every event, now I'm not at every event, but there's a standard for our events. And that's like kind of the Coach Schuman standard of how we do things.
Beautifully put, Coach. Thank you for dropping them gems. I'm telling you, I know whoever's listening to us, you're taking some valuable lessons. I want to go ahead and challenge you, whatever tip or technique that's resonating with you right now. Take that daily challenge on implementing it one day at a time. So let us know what application point, based off of what Coach is sharing, that really resonating with you, and you're going to take that daily challenge on implementing in your life to become a stronger version of yourself. Now, Coach, I know there are parents, teachers, and coaches that listen to GNG podcasts to get those tips and techniques to help young men as they mature in life and go after their dreams and goals. Is there a tip or technique that comes to mind that you could provide to that teacher, that parent, that coach that does have that young man that's in high school that, looking to go to college and play at the next level, but their mind is a little bit shaky? They're not too real focused. Is there something that comes to mind to help get that kid on track and to get laser focused on making that dream a reality of playing collegiate football?
Yeah, I mean, there's two things I think that are important. I think you have to have a purpose, right? You got to know what your purpose is. I mean, for me, I'm saved by Jesus Christ, and my faith is an important thing for me. It's not the only thing that drives me, but it gives me a guiding light as to where I want
that foundation. Yeah,
that foundation, right? So, I'm not saying you have to do what I do. For me, it has been a helpful thing. I think it was around 2009 that I got saved. I mean, I was always a Christian, but that getting saved part helped me. And I always say this, not that you don't go on rocky roads and you don't fall off the path at times. Like, people have to understand that things aren't perfect. Like, we all want it to go on a steady climb.
Right.
Everyone, but it's not a steady climb. You want it to kind of continue to go up, but it's going to go up and down. And you want to just hope that in general, and with your faith and everything, that you continue to have that continuous up, because you ride the ups and downs. And I think the big part of that, besides your purpose, is action. What action are you taking on a daily basis to move towards your goals or your plan? And many years ago, and from coaching, I used to kind of, and I had to learn this over time. I used to always, I was raised, make goals, right? And I would write a goal like, let's say in high school, rush for 1,000 yards, But I never put like an action plan to it. And what I learned as I got older is that if you want to rush for 1,000 yards, that could be your goal, but you have to have daily actions plan, an action plan, and things that you're doing and habits that you're doing every single day. So that might be as part of that goal. It's I'm going to rush for 1,000 yards, and that means I'm working out 4 days a week, lifting. I'm running 3 days a week. I'm making sure I eat the right way. So the action plan gives you those daily moments, those daily habits that you can ride and lean on to get you where you want to be. Because like I said, it is rocky, right? So if you just have a goal and you get derailed and you don't have an action behind it, an action plan and daily habits, then you're going to be in a situation where you're just going to be like, well, it didn't work out the way, What happens when you rush for 800 yards versus 1,000? Did you fail? No. You then now, okay, your goal was 1,000. You rush for 800 yards. Excellent. Okay, how do I get to that 1,000 next year? So that's where the action starts to give you the opportunity to be able to really have success, because the truth is it's little things you do every day that gets you there, because you are going to get derailed and you have to be able to deal with that adversity and that derailment.
Wow, Coach. Couldn't have been said any better. Boom. I know there's somebody's listening right now. God, I got to get in front of this guy a little bit more. I'm loving what he's sharing. I can tell that he's very passionate behind his words and he really cares. Can you share your contact information with the audience? How can we share a little bit more about the podcast? I definitely can talk about it, but I know you can share a little bit more thorough on that whole platform and things that you have going in 2022 that we can be praying about. And yeah, so share your social media handles, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. At Coach Schuman at all social media. Schuman is SCHUMAN at Coach Schuman. And so it's like, and now, I'm on TikTok too. So Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, you name it, at Coach Schuman, all the major kind of social media. And I do a podcast. Actually, it's January. We start up in February for the success, which you were on, the Success Breeds Success podcast, and we do it usually in that like late winter through the spring. So we'll start that up again. I love doing that because I get to interview people like you and many other guys and gals that are successful in many different fields. And then, our website, nucsports.com and myfootballcamps.com is where all our programs are, camps, showcases, our all-star games. You could reach out to me, through there. The best way, if you ever want to reach out to me directly, is just honestly, Twitter is probably the easiest. At Coach Schuman on Twitter, you DM me on there or on Instagram, and I'm on there myself. So, I usually respond pretty quickly.
Beautiful, Coach. Thank you again so much for your time, your effort. I know you're a busy guy, just coming on here and shining your light to the audience, the GNG tribe. This has definitely been a fruitful conversation. And guys, I know lives are being changed already. Stuff is turning in people's minds right now, but there's going to be some application that's going to be taken away from this conversation. So again, just know we're your biggest fan, and I know there's so much more that's going to happen with NUC Sports in 2022. We're excited to see even more endeavors and gifts that's going to be brought forth from what you're doing and how you're impacting lives. So we really appreciate it, Coach.
No problem, man. It's about serving best you can, and I really enjoy connecting with you again and being on your podcast.
Yes, sir. I'm going to lead us out, Coach. As I told you before, you guys will not be disappointed by the episode with Coach Schuman. I want you guys to stay up with GNG. More podcast episodes are coming soon. I want you to do two things for me. Keep that crown on your heart. And please remember this. We are God's echo. I love you guys. Peace.
Thank you for listening to GNG Podcast, Remember, you are gifted differently to make a difference. Please visit ChazJacksonSpeaks.org and let's continue to grow together. God bless.